You saw my shoes first. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shyzalosophy 101. That's right, it's great to be alive. Here's your host at Shyzabox. Oh, is the show starting? Oh, it must be. We heard our introduction. Oh, everybody loves us. Oh, spotlight on us. Everybody loves us. Oh, girl, giddy up. Oh, we're going to be late for work. Oh, girl. Oh, good girl. Thank you. Get out of here. And the horse. You rode in on. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome nuns and all. That's right, priests, preachers, cardinals, rabbis, weirdos with beardos, bishops, missionaries, those of whoever and whichever wish to hang out and or have that of a time with which, whatever this time shall be. Welcome, nuns. Welcome all. We have got a fantastic show for you today. And, of course, by fantastic, we mean free. Okay? Remember, you get what you pay for. Excellent. Now, we were thinking to ourselves, it's very important for us to, under our own metric and guise of understanding, to, be sure that we're keeping in front of those little lofty goals that we set for ourselves, such as playing with the emotions, minds, and components of humanity. And now, obviously, with our dumb-tectable test, all right, we want to stay efficient. Now, we can probably correlate and deduce that we will not sell multiple book copies of Delectable with which to necessitate us changing the chart on a regular basis, okay? Obviously, we know, but there is some chaos that has reared its head, okay? Well, I don't know why you'd celebrate that. It makes our job harder. You're ruthless, Internet. All right, so we have our dumb-tectable test, okay? It's set up. It's ready to showcase the metrics and merits of either humanity being stupid or humanity being dumb. Either way, it's a very, very fun test. Now, lo and behold, Shyzabox messed up. It wasn't a joke. You are ruthless, Internet, and you would celebrate that, of course. We messed up, all right? In our dumb-tectable test, with which we'll measure how either dumb and or stupid humanity is, okay? Because it's hilarious. We did not actually consider or think of a separation or a separating of international sales on that of our literary works, okay? So, whoops, there's some international chaos going. With Delectable, in essence, and or any of our literary works, we did not have a metric that we implemented upon the New York Times bestsellers list or any iota, way, shape, or form thereof, with which to account for European and or, any other broad payments and or purchases of Delectable towards the actual test itself. Well, it makes our job a little harder, okay, but, not impossible, okay, because the test in for New York Times lies in the test of itself, okay? We know that they house and utilize their secret metrics with how books and works become New York Times bestsellers, right? They use secret numbers that change on a weekly basis, so you never know which Brondo of mind books you are getting, okay? New York Times bestsellers list fluctuates and inherently is a good old boys club, and you are getting the Brondo of literature. It's what minds crave. Okay? With everyone getting the Brondo of literature, obviously, and delectable pricing itself, because Shyzabox is awesome. That's right, worth celebrating. Because it's priced itself at 94% off, and you're able to, then reasonably ascertain how its utilizations of itself as an entity and its desire to exist, the book priced itself and broke Amazon's pricing algorithm. We didn't make it 94% off, okay? That's the book itself, okay? We've already proved our theory, okay? This book here, this is thermodynamic enlightenment at a price tag, okay? Bold claim cotton. Okay, that's how we're able to set up a test like Dumbtectable to see how stupid humanity is. But like we said, something that we did not anticipate and we did not start separating initially right away is international sales and international revenue coming in, okay, as Shyzalosophy, or the idea thereof, seeing or finding or seeking what is true, and or just hanging out and having a good time, okay? One need not be a practitioner thereof to understand that there's a metric therein that can go around, okay? The power in Shyzalosophy, okay, resides in one's ability to want to, pick the power source up and utilize it at their own means, ways, intentions, and or wills, okay? Now, one need not utilize that of any kind of power source or structure merely in finding how stupid humanity is. Everyone knows mankind's stupid. If anyone disagrees, well, they're probably human. Okay, now, mankind is just like artificial intelligence would be deemed inherently extremely intelligent and capable, okay, by design, all right? However, always understand that mankind's always going to have that additional flawed logic, reasoning, and argumentation therein himself, okay? Theoretically, because obviously this is all for philosophical entertainment, okay? Just because we proved our theory and we don't hide behind the math or science and have open source, auditable, correctable thing, doesn't mean we don't enjoy doing a pickup game of philosophy every now and again. So, we don't want to have on our crazy hat or anything like that on the internet when we're going around saying that we've theoretically decoded Voynich manuscript, things of that nature, okay? We don't want to look crazy, so let's get off our crazy hats and put on our thinking hats, all right? Because inherently, we don't want to look foolish on the internet when we go around making bold claims that we can't computationally verify and back up. Excellent. There, that feels much better. Now that we have our thinking hats on, oh, no, still theoretically decoded the Voynich manuscript. Guess it's just an aesthetic. We don't hide behind the math, we don't hide behind the science, it's all up there, in the descriptifications, and or there's plenty of much more. Follow us on Bluesky and or the X, should you choose. Or don't. It doesn't matter. Okay? That's what a lot of people, either do and or don't realize. Okay? Again, this is all for philosophical entertainment. With Delectable, okay, we already proved the theory. We've literally moved a metric kernel of data from Kaggle to Web3, okay, the future, the IPFS, okay, the future wild, wild west of the internet, okay? We've already done it. Whether anyone buys the book that has the tactics utilized therewith in which we did it, and or whether no one buys the book, it's already been done, okay? We have already cryptographically, executably sealed that of the computational coding. Verifiable on that of Kaggle. Knock yourself out. Go to town. Okay? With us having already proved our theory, there's nothing left to prove. We can just shoot off at the mouth. We're not under an NDA, and we don't work for a big company, so we can utilize the abilities that Lectin afford one to use to do whatever anyone wants us to, okay? That's why we've been making games, we've been making demos, we've been making little showpieces and things of that nature. We did Christmas in July, we made a little ornament thing. Took us a while to play with the physics of the snowfall, okay? It's nothing you have to use, it's nothing you have to utilize, all right? But it inherently exists upon its own existence, all right? And it is there for anyone to utilize, use, improve, adapt, make better therewith, and or used for their own reasonings thereof, okay? Just the fact that we wrote the foundational code doesn't mean anyone else can't take our LimeWire-inspired music player and make it better, okay? Do it. Now you got a big company who wants to come bring us a briefcase full of cash so that we put cryptographically executable witnesses in all of their music files. We can do that, all right? We can make it to where when one of their artists of choice drops an album of insert album here or there, it is cryptographically executably sealed and it can run just inherently as its own organic playlist, okay? There are ways to advance computational, not only theory, proven, at this point. For us, it's empirical. For the world, it is not, all right? There's a very, very big distinction and disassociation that must be made. We will not be empirically validated, perhaps ever. And it doesn't matter, because mankind's stupid. Okay? Whether what good old Shyzabox says is true, or whether what good old Shyzabox says is false, we have literally moved the metric kernel of data from Kaggle to Web3. It is done, executed, and finished. Okay? It can't be undone. Okay? You cannot unstamp what has been stamped. Okay? Even if you use disappearing ink, the indentations are thusly left behind. All right? We already did it. Okay? We already proved our theory, whether one wants to buy into that component aspect or not. Okay? Wherein our literary work starts pricing itself because it adheres to the theory. That's just extra icing on the cake. That's hilarious. Yeah, our literary work went ahead and broke Amazon.com's pricing algorithm on its own accord. That's an extra show that we got out of it because book got to work. Okay? Inevitably, it tries to surface itself into existence, whereupon it will trick and or appeal to those to pick it up and bring it into that existence because inherently the information's pretty valuable there within. Okay? Subjectively, okay? One need not buy into a closed Gödelian loop system, all right, that they wish not to buy into, okay? Now, that's fine. You don't have to. But when you start playing around and you start saying that you don't like Shyzabox's closed Gödelian loop system, Shyzabox's is backed up by computational mathematics and verifiable fingerprint encoding that are cryptographically executable witnesses that thumbprint themselves right onto that file, okay? You might not like Shyzabox, you might not like Shyzabox's methods, you might not love Shyzabox. Well, hurts our feelings, sure. We have agape love for all. You don't have to like us, we already did the work and it's done. The cryptographically executable witnesses exist, and inherently they cannot unexist, okay? Computationally, it's math, okay? Go check it for that of yourself. We hide not behind it. You're welcome, okay? What we did not account for, okay, what we did not ascertain was international sales that we would have to retract or reduce from, in essence, the New York Times bestseller list, though it's an additional foundational metric with which we did not anticipate or think of in the long run. So that's our short-sightedness, and that's our bad. Okay, well, we can't be perfect all the time. That's God's job. Okay? We wish not to replace that of which we most definitely are not. Believe you me. Bad mumbo jumbo go around doing something of the sort. Okay, now, nothing to do with that on this end, okay? Whilst we have that of our theological means and endeavors for one to pursue and, contemplate that on, anyone can pick up any of our philosophy pertaining to whatever component or aspect they would like, because as a modern philosopher, you need to wear your heart on your sleeve. You need to have an entire ability to let those of whomever wish to audit that of your entirety, okay? You gotta let them comb through whatever they want, okay? So, speaking of which, pertaining to our last stream, Sorry about that. Okay? Excellent. Forgive and forget, right? All right, so the international chaos that has abounded now, and that of not only our metaphysical endeavors and things of that nature, inherently need not be a factor in the goal at hand or the thing. The test is still the test, okay? The dumb-tectable thusly still exists. There's just more proponents that might very well influence it or alter it to make it even more hilarious now, okay? When we said Shyzabox's short-sightedness might have, been an over short sight, well, we didn't tell you yet it was going to be even more funny if something else resulted. Okay? You can't make this up. I mean, you could, but whatever. Because we didn't factor into any of the European, overseas, abroad sales to that of our literary works, foundationally, should metrics, means, and situations arise where the European dissemination of that of any of our works or the correlation with wishing or desiring to at least look into them, maybe read some poetry, maybe read some pickled punk philosophy, maybe you got all the punk rockers over there in the UK or Spain or, France or whatever going like, pickled punk philosophy, well, let's read some of that Western punk philosophy. It doesn't matter if, that's the work that, they're into or not. Maybe someone's just like, let me read me some Nailing Kalimba. That looks fantastic. Okay? I mean, it doesn't matter. The point is that as we actively track now specifically delectable, okay, and we put it into the category of us just running inherently our own little, philosophical test on it, and any others of humanity whom wish to partake in that of the test, it is set up to be pretty hilarious. Should you find humor in that of what is, divine comedy? A broken system forced to take that of which it wish not take. Okay? That's hilarious. And to shed light on the broken system in the entire process, that's divine comedy. If we say New York Times bestseller list is broken because they have secret numbers of books that you need to sell, it's a good old boys club because you got to be, in essence, members of Ingram Spark and Draft to Digital, formerly Word Smash or Smash Words or whatever. Okay? The fact that this stuff is previously, to at least us ourselves, unknown, shedding the light on it is, first and foremost. And then doing the test, I mean, that's just icing on the cake there, right? Being afforded the opportunity to, because our book inevitably priced itself into a reasonable existence, okay? Last we checked, okay? Made itself 94% off. Again, that wasn't us. It broke Amazon.com's pricing algorithm, okay? It wasn't us. Be careful with third-party resellers because they still have it at $2.50, and of course they don't usually correlate or correspond with any of that. Read it for free on Kindle Unlimited. Read any of our books for free. Nailing Kalimba, Pickled Punk Philosophy, all that stuff's on there. How Poetry, Cometry, How Cometry, Poetry. Have fun. With Delectable, though, in essence, and us now knowing that we gotta kind of separate that of international sales and attribute them elsewhere, should European now, as we start, looking and whatnot, and kind of the European sales are outpacing that of the U.S. sales for our books now, okay? It just is. Europeans usually jump into philosophy sooner than Americans, probably. I don't know. Do you even philosophy, bro? Probably not, because the Europeans are doing it more than Americans. I'm in Europe. I'm watching this. Oh, well, disregard. You might be reading this too, apparently more than that. Go to Kindle Unlimited, you read it for free. With us keeping track of the sales and things on it and such, it should not change, obviously, overnight in any metric way, shape, or form. But as we did go and look at, different sales numbers and things of that nature, not accounting for that of European sales and things of that nature, inevitably is an oversight on our part, okay? So yes, we already apologized for that, okay? But it makes it more funny now, okay? To go on, finally. All right. I don't know. We'll have to do some research, look into it. Feel free to message us on here, on Bluesky, on X, on email, punkrokreview, the channel, at the Gmail of the punkrokreview@gmail.com. Any of the, components or aspects of European literary accreditations, awards, or things of that nature, okay, should Europe, okay, embrace that of any of our literary works to influence it to become, in essence, a literary work of choice for New York Times bestseller list. Okay, again, the funniest thing is we say, do not buy this book. Do not buy this book. It pains us as the author. But we're telling you right now, European sales are outpacing that of the U.S. sales and that of our literary endeavors. And currently, with us not accounting for Europe and not, in essence, accounting for international, abroad literary, intake and things of that nature, any market that affords the accommodation and the privilege, okay, of a literary award for one way, shape, or form in any capacity, it's an additional metric to play with the overall dumb-tectable system, okay? The layers of hilariousness shall ensue. It shall be one of the, in essence, funniest things to either sit back and watch and or not watch, okay? Again, the only way that the dumb-tectable test works is if people want to do it, okay? Now, not everyone wants to go and buy a book, okay? Obviously. But that is the test, okay? And we tell people, do not buy this book, okay? Especially from third-party retailers that have it at $250. Don't do that. We're keeping track of digital and physical, okay? But do not buy this book. All right, well, like we said, internationally, the international chaos is us not accounting for that of the literary sales and things of that nature that go towards the New York Times bestsellers or anything like that, and or if any of those awards or accolades are presented, the influence of the metrics involved are inherently just hilarious. It's the where we go one, where you go all. All right, you get someone to jump on the bandwagon, then before you know it, you got the entire, gazebo section playing. And believe you me, that is a harmonious rhythmic tune to fall into love with. Or not. I don't know. Everything's fine. What was that? Yeah, so international sales, obviously, we are separating that metric now. We have it accounted for. We need to go and look into that of what exists, what are possibilities, what are plausibilities, okay, and that of European literature and things of that nature, okay? Not a market inherently that we ever contemplated, jumping into, and or that of any other market, but obviously, that of our works we wish to disseminate with anyone and everyone who wish to, partake in the dissemination therewith, okay? We want that symbiotic exchange because that's what we feel is the best way moving forward, all right, for us to sustain that of our daily bread, okay? If someone reads a few pages of one of our books in Kindle Unlimited, we get a big ol' whopping 0.004 cents per page read. Okay? Now, you laugh. That's fantastic. We're a paid author at that point. Okay? We'll take those pennies and we will put them to the best use to sustain our daily bread. And should we ever accumulate more pennies than necessitate that of our daily existence, we hope and pray, all right, that we make the best decisions therewith that accommodate and do that of the best of good for any component, aspect, or, entity that we involve ourselves with, any work that we, put ourselves upon, and or any other entity that wish to solicit that of our means and or measures, okay? Let anything we hope and pray, be for the betterment of man and for sentience as a whole, okay? Symbiotically, okay? Where we go one, we go all. Take care of the world, take care of, each other, and take care of things that need to be taken care of, okay? No way, I'll do that next week. Now, we didn't say you couldn't procrastinate every now and again. After all, we are human, we're all flawed, right? All right, let's see where we're at. Whoops. All right, that'll help us keep track of international sales then, and we'll distinguish between the two, and we'll see which side can be stupider sooner. As an additional metric. All right. Excellent. So, as it sits now, like we said, a little international chaos because we didn't factor in any of those sales or metrics or anything like that, but we are accounting for them now, and going forward, Dumbtectable will be even more funny of a test should anyone wish to participate in that of the test, okay? Believe you me, it'll be hilarious. But as we venture into the confines of wherever we venture into the confines thereof, be sure that no matter what, you are taking care of yourself, because there's only one you, and we can't replace you easily, okay? Not only have we been disciplined for creating fake accounts and subscribing to ourselves, but it's just, it's not efficient for us to keep up with this. So you be sure you take care of yourself first and foremost. Then you look around, you take care of anyone else who really needs it second. Some people really need help and don't know how to ask. That's right. So you take care of them second, because they really need it, and they might really just not know how to efficiently ask, okay? Then you look around, all right? You see everybody else standing around, Shyzabox is in the corner, we're peddling our works and our wares, saying, oh, buy our books, they're so great. Here's Nailing Kalimba, Pickle Punk Philosophy, okay? All right, we're in the corner. You're like, hell no, and you got a stick, you're poking at us. All right, you look around the room, you take care of anyone else that you like or love more than us, okay? Unlikely. You might like 6, 7 people more than us. Right? You take care of them third, all right? But anything else you got left over, we'll take. Go to Kindle Unlimited, start a free account, download a Shyzabox book, and we get 0.04 cents per page read. That's money. We're a paid author. We'll take any of the crap you got left over. Because remember, we don't want your subscription, we want your money. Downvote the shit out of this, go to Cashapp and give us $1, or go to Amazon.com and search Shyzabox books and buy one of them. Get off our yard!